This is an interesting question. This is going next. Is in regards to an obstacle in the way of the main character. Is it compelling?
So I would
Mhm.
say yes. And that's because like I mean, there's no real villain in this movie. Let's just put that out there. Like unless you count Big Al, but that's more like he's just a friend who's a
Yeah.
bad influence. He's not really like a villain
No.
per se. Um so the reality is this obstacle is clearly the demons that Phil Robertson
Right.
struggles with. Like his internal like problems, his inner darkness. Um, so it's like his struggle with alcoholism and his own selfish desires. So it's like he wants clearly like at a certain point you see he's trying to get everything he wants. He wants to be able to keep hunting. He wants to be able to hang out with his friends. He wants to be able, but he also wants to hang out with his
Hmm.
family, like please his wife. But it's almost like he can't do all
Hmm.
of that, and it's like something has to give, and so it's like he's like, and so I guess in other ways it's his pride too, where it's like he's just like it. This is the big obstacle that it's very compelling. All of us have pride. All of us have things that we struggle with, demons or fears or whatnot, like things that just eat away at us. It will tear us apart if we don't give them up or overcome them.
Right.
So I would say that his struggle was a very compelling one, and it was actually portrayed in such a way that I think it was very like it was a very well portrayed
Hmm.
struggle.
How do I phrase? It's very interesting because this movie is very much all about his personal development, right? As a character,
Mm-hmm.
because that's the primary area of conflict that has to be introduced early on, and it has to be the engaging point of everything that happens in the story. Would you say that
Mm-hmm.
him as his own enemy was effective through the whole story, through the just the beginning, just the end, all the way through, in the middle? What would you say?
Well, I mean, if it's, I mean, maybe it's really weak at the beginning, but because you don't really see his inner struggles till, like later on in the
Mhm.
movie. But I would say it is fairly strong once it starts to show itself.
No, I would agree. I would say that, especially because this is the primary point of conflict for the story, it was good once it got going. But the thing is, a lot of the early
Mm-hmm.
story was all about, okay, this is what I'm choosing to do with my life. I get married to Miss K. I have kids. I
Mm-hmm.
become, and really nothing even
Mm-hmm.
starts to get going until he meets Big Al, and he's a teacher,
Mm-hmm.
and that was good. But and even then, he doesn't really start with a lot of conflict. It slowly ramps up. And so in regards to a
Mm-hmm.
buildup of that, the him being his own enemy is not strong for I would say a good portion of the early part of the movie, and that makes it a lot harder to get that buy-in unless you've been
Mm-hmm.
willing to sit through the first 30-40 minutes.
Yeah. No, I mean, I
Mhm.
understand what you're saying. I think and honestly, I kind of agree with you a little bit, but I also kind of see some of the early stuff as essential to the conflict later on, like the things with his mother and his early family, like some of the struggles, like showing even like the obstacles between Miss K and him before they even get
Mhm.
married, like showing some of that, showing okay, there's like they did go through stuff before they got together, and then it's just like it just adds emphasis to some of the later conflict. Like gives it like, was it really worth it to go through that to get to this
Mhm.
point? Like it kind of just creates that
No,
question.
and I
So it adds meaning for later on.
right.